Hey guys, I'm Sarah, and this is my one-take guide for Mercy positioning on Eichenwalde. I have gotten some questions about this. I think actually this guide is in answer to Elven Deity, who said you could make a video called How to Effectively Play Mercy on Eichenwalde. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the positioning that I use when I'm playing her both on attack and on defense. So here I am in a custom game. I'll try to keep moving so they don't kick me out. For inactivity. So if you haven't watched one of my videos before, I play a lot of Mercy, and I have a couple Mercy guides on my channel. She's one of my most favorite heroes to play. Probably Fair is my second favorite, or they're tied, something like that. Anyway, so when I play Mercy on defense, what I usually like to do is to hang around right inside the gate in a place that's kind of safe. So I really like this spot because you can't really be shot by anybody who's over here outside the gate, by any of the attackers. If you're stupidly standing here in the doorway, then like someone who's over here getting health in that music room, like right down there, can sometimes shoot you. So you want to be like, if you are in this area because like maybe you have a teammate who's standing right here and you want to be able to target them, then what I'll often do is like start healing them and then sort of bend around the corner, and then before the beam breaks, I'll come back out and like keep it alive a little bit. But if you are standing out there, sometimes you can just be very aware of what's going on in this part of the screen so that you can like get out of the way if anybody appears there, because you're going to be a huge target. Another thing that's really important to keep in mind when you're standing in this room is to watch your flank, because lots of times you'll have like a Pharah or a D.Va or a Winston who would love to jump down there and kill you. And so oftentimes what I'll do is I'll stand here and I'll just be listening really carefully for anybody who's appearing up here, like a Reaper teleporting in, and it won't be as loud because they'll be, you know, up here. But you just want to, whenever you're in this room on defense as Mercy, you just want to be really train yourself to listen for what's coming up those stairs. Another nice thing about this spot is that if you have a widow or a soldier or someone who's hanging out up here on the gate, you can often target them from here. If you can't, I'm really reluctant to go out this way unless you have like a Reinhardt or someone who is like shielding you from the attackers who are shooting through this gate. What I'll often do is if I have someone up here that I want to target but they're too far forward and I can't, is I'll come back out here and get a little bit more distance, and then usually I can get the reticle on them, or the little like cursor that appears, and so then I can like zoom up to the gate, Guardian Angel up to the gate, and put myself up here. If I do, for whatever reason, find myself up here, obviously I could also walk up the steps, but that's sometimes a little bit risky because you come out here and maybe there's a widow over there or a bastion, and so I'm really not a fan of walking up these steps. I mean, if you get up here and you are okay, if you're content like not seeing what's happening and you can target your teammates who are standing here, that's okay, but I feel like it really reduces your visibility of like, I guess it reduces your situational awareness to be in here for very long. So I don't really like to hang out here very much. Like, what if they've broken the gate and they're all like flooding through, and then like I don't really have an escape route down here. So if I'm up in this region, I just sort of feel like a little bit uneasy because I don't know what's going on around me. And so anyway, but so if we had Guardian Angel to someone up here for whatever reason, if we've got guys up here, probably there's not a bastion here shooting at them too much. And so if I am up here for whatever reason, I try to stay really on the back edge. I don't want the people on the ground here to be able to shoot me, so I'll really stay up here. If you're ever on attack and you like see a Mercy up here, I feel like that Mercy has made a mistake. Like, you should never be able to see them. I mean, it's not generally true that you should never be able to see Mercies on the enemy team, but like, I feel like if a Mercy is up here on this gate, then that Mercy has, and is visible to the people standing on the ground, that Mercy has made a mistake. So I'll often try to stay up here. Obviously, it's really risky to go back and forth across in front of the gate. If you have a Reinhardt, sometimes you can, you know, tell them if you have someone you can Guardian Angel to, you can go like cross here in a hurry. But and so this is an acceptable place to stand. If you have people in the computer store, just point of note, this is a computer store. You can see computer world, I don't know what the rest of the German means, but like it's obviously a computer store. But anyway, so if you're standing over here and you have people who are in and out of the computer store, it's not as risky to be over here because you can always just Guardian Angel to them and be near the health if you need it. And sometimes this is good because you can really stay on top of your teammates, but see what's around you, and you aren't going to get flanked back here. So you don't really have to worry about what's behind you. You just have to worry about what's on screen. And it also gives you a really good vantage point to watch for like a Pharah or a D.Va flanking over the top of these buildings. So I like that. This is going to be a little bit riskier spot as soon as the new doorway appears here to the music room that they added, and it sounds like it's probably going to be going live eventually. So it is a little bit riskier, and probably if once that happens, I'll try to be a little bit more aware of like who's walking across here and might go into the music room on the enemy team. And try to keep it just in view so I can see if someone's there, but not really be too much of a target. But that really requires being proactive, so to like view that, because it's really easy to just get killed there. So I guess I'll have to see how that shakes out once that change goes through. Next, once you really lose this gate, it's kind of a crapshoot. You can hide behind the payload, and then if they come here, you can go this way, and if they come out here, you can, you know, go to the left. But once you're sort of at this point, it's a lot harder to be a Mercy. I find I do a lot of staying inside this doorway, but again, you're really exposed to the back. So another place to stand is up here if you feel like you're comfortable doing that and you have enough ways to get away. But in general, I feel like this, once you lose that first point, it's just a lot harder to be a Mercy here. You just have to be really vigilant about what's going on around you. You can't ever sort of relax and only focus on healing. You have to really be focused on your own survival, whatever room you're standing in, whatever cover you're behind. Sometimes if the flood isn't too terrible, you can hang out in here and heal your team as they like defend right here on this crosswalk or defend right here. But I find that usually that doesn't last too long. It's not really at equilibrium in that situation, so it's not really a good place to hang out. So once you lose this point, and you're hanging out in here. I find that, oh, actually, there's one thing I forgot to say there. When you're still defending against the first gate, one thing that I almost never do is go past this gate. Almost never. If we're really holding them down and like a bunch of my teammates are here, which I feel like is like inadvisable anyway because it's so easy to be flanked from right here as defenders. But on rare occasions, if like all of my team is here, and so if they die it would just be catastrophically bad, it's worth the risk of me coming out here to heal them, even though it's putting us all at great risk. But like we were already all at great risk there because the team shouldn't have been this far forward probably. So it's taking a bad situation and trying to figure out what to do. But if it's just like one or two guys, like I almost never go outside the gate. Like if you're way out here, like you are on your own, buddy. I almost never would go out there because it's just too easy for them to exit their spawn and come up through this building or come up around here or be in this doorway or be up here or be in the air up here like a Farah or a Diva and shoot you in the back right here. So it's just too much risk. I really don't think anyone should be out there. So I would really rarely do it. So yeah, if you ever find yourself like stepping across this line, you might want to reevaluate and say like, am I sure this is the right place for me to be? Like you can heal a lot from over here. You can connect your beam to them and then just kind of hang out in this alcove. You can say, hey guys, we're pretty far forward. If you want healing, come back to the gate. And you don't have to be like passive aggressive or a dick about it, but you can just tell them like, I'm back here behind the gate. Anyway, so yeah, so that was another thing I wanted to mention. So let's go back to where I was a moment ago, where we've already lost the point. We're in defense, and probably if we lost the point, I'm walking back from spawn. Probably I'm dead too. And so I come out here, back from the defense spawn, and maybe they're at the gate. Maybe they aren't. But basically, once we've lost the point and the payload is moving, I rarely try to get further forward than right here, than this corner. On occasion, if we're doing really well at holding them down, like holding the payload down right here, like before it's come through the doors, then we can sometimes put a pretty good hold on like these two doors and the payload door. And so in that rare case, I might come forward a little bit and like support the team from around in this position, or, you know, like hiding behind this and keep them alive. At least then I can sort of retreat back in here if things go south. But it's still pretty risky to be out here because it's just so flankable. Like you can get people coming in here, you can get Farahs jumping over this, shooting you from behind. It's a really hard position to hold. So like being able to back into the keep down here definitely is probably where you want to think of your home base if you're healing down in this region to support your team. But But usually in my experience that doesn't last too long, and so it won't be long before like the payload is like here, for example. And once that happens, like, again, I would almost never come further forward than this corner. I would stay back here. And, you know, maybe I'd peek out to hook my beam onto someone and then kind of stand a little bit further back. But I feel like once I get this far forward, I feel a little bit uneasy. Another thing, I guess, that's sort of similar in the same vein is I'll often like to hang out in here. And it's like if the payload is in this region, I'll often hang out in here and support the team, but I want to be really careful to like listen to what's behind me and make sure there aren't footsteps coming, and if there are, just like immediately run out and sort of go up this ramp. On occasion, I've been able to do good work as Mercy from the top of the keep, supporting my team in defense, but in general, I really like being above my teammates because it allows me to target everybody easily. Like, maybe I'm over here, but most of the places where you're on top, you're also sort of a sitting duck. And so on rare occasions, I might support from up here, but these are areas that otherwise I would generally not hang out in because it's just too risky. Maybe if there was like a Bastion or a Reinhardt up here, I would, you know, sit back and damage boost them or something. But like if we had people on the ground, I probably wouldn't hang out up here. I might pass by here. I might like, you know, Guardian Angel up to a teammate that's here to just keep myself constantly in motion so it's hard for people to shoot me or, you know, settle on, oh, where I am hanging out. But I wouldn't really want to stay here for very long. So then as the payload moves, over here where I also try to hang out, like once we're getting close to this checkpoint, is back here sort of in the shadows. They can still flank us, but I find that this flanking route just really isn't used that much, at least in my experience. And so like if the payload is anywhere on this bridge, I would probably spend a lot of time hanging out in here. Again, I rarely do sit in one place, but I would sort of think of this as like my home base region. You know, maybe I'm trying to Guardian Angel constantly between different teammates, but if, you know, if things are going south, this is where I try to go back to by default. Obviously over here it's a lot riskier because they're usually like coming up through here, coming up the stairs, or coming over here, or jumping over the top of the keep. And so like this whole region just feels dangerous to me. And so I would probably not be there too much. If the payload's down here under the land bridge, then I might, but like I might be in this region because mostly they're going to be aimed like focused over there instead of being focused over here. But and so then I might be in this region, but once it gets up here on the land bridge, like it's just going to be like a wave coming over the wall of people in all the different places. So I would probably try to stay out of that region. So once they get inside, sort of the same principle applies as with when they finally do take the payload on the first place. We have a couple doors. We have these two side doors, and we have the main payload door. And I would try to just not be in sight of any of them. I try to be in a place where nobody can flank me. And so like maybe I'd be here supporting my team who's kind of in this region. I might Guardian Angel to someone who's over here at the door to heal them. And then as soon as they're healed, I would immediately like run back to my sort of home base area, which would be back here. It's also possible if we're doing a really good hold. You know, if we're holding them super well, then I could stand in this region and, you know, heal people at both doors. I've done that before and it's been effective, but I find that that's not a way we're able to hold them that frequently. And so then, again, once as the payload progresses through here, I do a lot of healing from sort of this region because you're really, really well shielded. The one problem is that if someone does realize you're there, which they can usually see because your beam stretches from like where they can see it in this region to back over here in this alcove. So if you do see someone coming for you, you really want to make sure you have a plan of escape. Like if you're in this region, make sure you've got like a McCree up there, or a soldier, or a Farah up here, someone that you can escape to, because like you can't get up here. And I can't tell you how many times I've died being in this region because someone came around and I did not like try proactively enough to make sure that I had an escape. Like maybe my escape started to leave and what I should have said was like, oh no, my escape is leaving. I'd better get out of this spot and go someplace that gives me more exits. And instead I was like, oh well, they're gone. I'll just keep on healing this guy right here. And then like a Symmetra comes around the corner and kills me in this little alcove. So it has its benefits, but it also has its risks. I would probably almost never stay in this region because of the likelihood of flankers from here or here. Occasionally I might, if we're holding really well, I might be here and use this pillar for cover. I've done that before, but I feel like it's just a risky area because of these two doorways, and so I don't do that too often. It's much more likely that I might hang out up here to the left of the checkpoint, like up in this region. And then heal people from here, or on that side possibly too. But this side is better because you have better coverage, I find, like shielding coverage. So anyway, so for Mercy on defense, that is about I think that's most of the positioning like strategy that I use. So let's go do offense. So let's see, end match. I believe it will put me on the attack team. Find the custom game UI. Suboptimal. Okay, so let's see here. So as we're on attack, I don't like being Mercy on attack very much because when I play Eichenwalde, I really like to do like flanking as a diva or Pharah, and so even though I love playing Mercy, I rarely play Mercy on attack here. But and a lot of the reason is because I just depend so much on my team being willing to like move forward as a team, and so especially when I'm solo queuing, I don't really like being like Mercy on Eichenwalde. I just feel like I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs, and there's very little I can do. But I will tell you my experiences for how I feel like I can do that most effectively. So obviously the first thing to do is to hang out here and heal your team from a place where it's really hard for people to shoot you. You want to watch out for the guys who are going to be standing up here because they're probably going to shoot you. You might also get like a Pharah floating around here being kind of annoying, so watch out for that. But for the most part, I find you can just stand here and heal people all day as they take damage in stupid ways, and you can keep them alive and res them, and like no progress will be made on the map whatsoever. So I like standing here. Another place you can do that often is in here. It's a little bit riskier. Sometimes you'll get a Mei who will sneak through and try to get you down here. Or you'll also get the guys who are standing up here along the gate who will see you and shoot you and be proactive. And so like you can stand on this wall, but that's really risky because then you can't see anything about where the enemies are. Like you can't really see what's happening, and yet you're still really close to them. So like the situation could change in a second in a way that results in you being dead. Whereas if you're back over here, like if you're healing a bunch of people in this region and someone jumps down here and is starting to kill them, you'll see because all of the people you're healing will take damage. And so this is a much safer place to be than right here. On the other hand, if you guys are planning on making a push soon, where I'll often try to be is over here. Now, in the music room here, it's a little bit risky because you'll usually have someone up here who's trying to shoot you. You'll often have someone in here who's trying to shoot you. And, you know, sometimes you'll have a Mei or whatever coming through the wall or coming through the gate to try to get to you. So, so I don't like this just as like a passive sort of home base position, but if we're getting ready to make a push, I will often go over here because I can like stand really close and be relatively shielded, but then I can make a small movement, and as soon as my team starts to push through, I have this really wide view where I can pick the person that I want a guardian angel to so that I can stay with them. Because I want to stay with them so that I can support them as they're trying to like push through against the fire that I'm sure they'll be taking. And so if I'm over here, like I don't really have that much view. I mean, I guess like if I step out here, there's not, I mean, I guess I can, but usually they're going in that direction, at least in my experience. And so I feel like when I come here, it just gives me more of a better range for where my team is likely to be. Also, I can sort of see who might be shooting over there. One drawback, of course, is that, like, if there's a Torb turret up here, then I'll miss it, or, like, back here. And it'll get me. But anyway, so that's why I like this side for when we're getting ready to make a push. So I'll hang out here, and then I'll guardian angel to whomever. Maybe we're going to go here in the computer store, and then we have some relative cover while we're and I can heal everybody up while we're getting ready to like push out from here. So I'll often do that. And then, like, once we start trying to take the point, very much like defense Mercy here, it's just kind of a crapshoot. Like, it's just reading the situation moment by moment and being like, where are the guys with the guns and how can I like have some cover and still heal my team? And so, you know, maybe you're here for a second, but there isn't really a home base, at least that I have found in this instance, unless your team is really tightly grouped. Like, that's weird, I've never noticed that before. like if you've got like 5 guys and they're standing behind a Reinhardt shield and they're all like coming right in here as a group, sure, stay behind them. That's pretty straightforward. That's your home base right there. But I find that that's not usually what happens. A lot of times what I'll do is if we have like one flanking person, like maybe we have a Pharah or a D.Va who flanks over, if there aren't a lot of enemies right in this region, like at the gate, like maybe the enemies are spread out over behind the point, as soon as I see that my D.Va or Pharah is over, then if we have like one other guy in here, sometimes I will make the leap to the Pharah or the D.Va and support them as they like try to make a stand on the point that distracts the team enough to let all of our, like the rest of our team come through the gate. And so, like, I might stand here or hide behind here while our Pharah's up in the air, or if it's a Pharah, like, I might, you know, Guardian Angel up to her and try to fall in an erratic way so I don't get shot. But yes, that's about what I would do here. Once we take the payload, again, I would spend a lot of time over here keeping people healed, or over here keeping people healed. I really don't want to be first through the door because everybody's going to be looking at these doors. You know, you're going to have people up here and up here and up here and probably here and probably here. And so you don't want to be in here. It's just kind of a danger zone. This one's a little bit better, but usually you'll have like some soldier or Symmetra who's like, I'm going to stop you guys from right here in this spot in this doorway. And so I really like to just stay behind the payload here, never be in front of it until you're, until like the bulk of your team is in front of it. Once you come up here, I spend a lot of time crouching behind things so that the people on top of the keep can't get me. Either crouching behind the payload. I do a lot actually of like crouching right next to the payload and like escorting it up and just using it for cover. And lots of times I'll be the person moving the payload there because everybody else is out fighting and I can sort of like crouch and still heal them around me in different places, but keep everything moving, and it's really great cover. So I'll often do that here. I would probably never go in the keep at all unless I was like desperate for this health right here. And then I might just get that and leave, but like I would probably just not go in there. And so then as we progress up, I would again use it for cover. As we start to sort of take control of this region, I would probably hide down here a little bit so that nobody could shoot me from inside the keep. And again, pretty much always staying behind the payload. And let's see, once we get up here, it's a lot more risky here. I would spend a lot of time hiding in this back area, trying to like pop up and heal someone with my beam, and then, you know, come back down and wait if I need to, or until someone needs me. If we have someone up on the land bridge, I might do a lot of like guardian angeling back and forth between the land bridge and people who are on the payload, and just generally keeping in motion. If I'm out in this region, I would just try to constantly be in motion. And again, in this region, there's really not a safe place. Sort of in contrast with when you're Mercy on defense here, probably this right side area is better because you can come up here. Like maybe if you're walking back from your team, you can come up here and like Guardian Angel to teammates who are over there if you need to. And so this side is the safer side is Mercy, but I mean, there's this big risk of this doorway. And up there, and like a Pharah who's hanging around here, or Symmetra turrets in this region. People seem to like to put Symmetra turrets right here. So, so it's just a dangerous place for Mercy. So as we progress through, again, the basic principle of staying behind the payload applies. I try not to be the furthest person forward, but that's generally true when I'm playing Mercy. And so I would spend a lot of time hiding behind this wall or hiding behind this wall. And from here, I don't really think I have any novel insights. As the payload moves forward, you just stay behind it. So this region, especially once you get control of this area, it's nice because you don't really have to worry about flankers from this side because there's no way they're going to be over there. And so then that sort of makes this like big safe region in like this triangle. Once the payload's up here and you guys have control of it. And so that's nice because then you can just sort of go where you want to go. But yeah, so I think that about covers my attack Mercy positioning on Eichenwalde. So let's see. Guess that's it. One thing that I would like to do, at the end of each video, I'm answering a viewer question that someone has sent in. In this case, these questions were posted on, just a moment. These questions were posted on, in my Discord, my Sarahwatch Discord, and So today's question is from Aura, who posted the question, what software do you use to edit and record your video, gameplay-wise, not camera-wise? I use OBS. I know that there's OBS Studio and there's OBS like regular, and I don't actually know what the difference is. I know OBS Studio is new, and when I first started streaming, people were like, oh, don't use OBS Studio. It's like kind of the beta one. It's not nearly as well supported as the regular. And then like at some point this transition happened where now if you research it, they're like, oh, OBS is the old one. You should use OBS Studio because the old one isn't nearly as well supported. And so I don't actually know the truth of either of those statements, but I know that I've seen that and like as I have researched it. I know there's a lot of overhead in switching from OBS to OBS Studio because you have to move all your like scenes over, and the scenes are like this text that's above me and the background behind me and stuff like that, and so it's kind of a pain, and so that's why I haven't really switched to OBS Studio. So I'm not sure really which one of those is better. It sounds like OBS Studio probably is, but I'm not particularly well informed on the subject. For my editing, I don't do a lot of editing because I do so much streaming, but I'm also not a very good editor, but I use some software that's called HitFilm Express. And as I understand it, I guess HitFilm has like a full video editing suite, but Express, I think, is the free one, which is why I use it. And so it's got a little bit of a learning curve. I've never done really any video editing at all until I started the Sarahwatch channel. And so I had very little context, but they do have a lot of nice videos that sort of walk you through a project. And so if you're willing to dedicate the time to watch the videos and like understand the model of how the different controls work and their like UI conventions, like user interface conventions, then it seems like it's pretty good software. I have had issues with it where I've had like challenges that have been hard for me to surmount, but I'm still using it. And it's free, so I still like that. So yeah, so that's what I use for my editing. Also, if you guys aren't familiar with me, I do a lot of streaming. I stream 3 times a week right here on YouTube, and my channel is Sarahwatch. If you want to know when I'm streaming, it's usually in the afternoon Pacific time, and you can tell if I'm going to stream on a particular day because I will tweet about it earlier in the day, and then again later once the stream is about ready to start. So I'm Overwatch Sarah on Twitter. Also, I wanted to thank my Patreon supporters who supported this video, who support me streaming, and are wonderful people in general. Many of them hang out with me in Discord, which also brings me to my Discord server. If you guys want to like find some nice people to hang out with, you can join our Discord. You can see right here in the lower right corner, discord.sarahwatch.tv. There will also be a link in the description. So it's a nice place. Everybody's welcome except for dicks. They aren't welcome. We kick them right out. But you guys should definitely come and join us. And let's see. I guess that's it. I think that's all the things I wanted to say. So thanks for watching, you guys, and have a good day.